Hey everybody, my name's Kayla and I weigh myself every single day. And if you're trying to lose weight or trying to maintain your weight loss, I think you should do the same thing. Now, I know probably some of you are going to push back against the idea of weighing yourself. I was right there with you in 2014. I didn't want to weigh myself. I would just refuse to know the number. I didn't want to be beholden to the scale or chained to the scale. I didn't want to obsess about my weight. So I did 3 other things consistently to try to track my progress, but I found problems with all 3 of those. So here's what I tried. The 3 things that I did were I measured myself every week, I took progress pictures of myself every week, and then I also tried to pay attention to how my clothes were fitting. So let's talk about measuring yourself. Okay, when you measure yourself, it's difficult, okay? Like to try to accurately measure like your arm and you're trying to do it with one hand and you're trying to see it and record it accurately. It's just difficult. And even if you're trying to be really accurate with it, it's hard to remember from one week to the next exactly where did you measure and how much did you suck it in, because quite frankly you can really be way off depending on how much you suck it in or not. Out of curiosity yesterday I thought, well, how much would it really make a difference? And so I measured my waist, like just, kind of slouching and not sucking it in at all. And then I tried sitting up really straight and really sucking it in, and I was able to get a 5-inch difference there. And that's pretty considerable, actually. Even if you're not trying to cheat and give yourself a little win, not to say that I ever did that or anything, but it's still hard to be accurate. So the second thing I did was watched how my clothes fit, right? Which seems like a good idea, except for I was in denial about what size I should be wearing. So my jeans were way too tight. And since my jeans were way too tight, you know what happens if you lose even 5 pounds and your jeans are way too tight? Your jeans are only slightly less way too tight. So it's not a very good way to really tell from week to week how you're doing. Also, if you're like me, you might wear your jeans like 7 times in a row before you wash them. And they get really comfortable and they start feeling really loose and you start feeling really good about yourself until you wash it and dry it, and then you're like, oh crap, they're not loose anymore. Okay, and the third thing was progress pictures. Now, progress pictures are great, and I encourage you to certainly do it because it's great to see how far you've come. But week to week, they don't tell you much. And to show you what I mean, I'm going to show you a picture of when I first started taking progress pictures, and the other one is a year later. And so I can't tell a difference. And I don't know if I was exactly the same weight or not, because I wasn't weighing myself. So now let's talk about the scale. This is my healthometer. I got it at Walmart for like $18. So now let's look at that last picture I took before I started weighing myself, and then we'll compare it to 1 year later, and then we'll take the final shot, which was like after I started intermittent fasting and walking consistently. That was at the end of my journey. So certainly you can see a different, over 65 pounds, you can certainly tell a difference. I want you to think like a scientist, okay? A scientist needs good, reliable, non-biased data. And so the great thing about weighing yourself is that it's easy, it's fast, and it's super accurate. Like my scale is, basically to within an ounce of my weight. And there's no way to really cheat it. The scale is just gonna tell you the number. Okay, so you might say, well, what about just once a week instead of every day? Wouldn't that be better? And I'm gonna say, nah. And here's why. Thinking like a scientist, you want as much data as possible, right? And if you only weigh once a week, then you're only getting like 1 data point every week, right? But if you weigh every day, suddenly you have 7 times as much data, so you can form better conclusions. If you weigh yourself every day, you're going to have a more consistent and truer picture of what's going on with your weight. To give you an idea, since I've been tracking every day for about 2 years now, I've noticed there have been weeks, actually, my weight has fluctuated by 6.4 pounds. And that's a lot. Now, what kind of thing would have happened if I had only weighed that one day where I was the heaviest or that one day where I was the lightest? I would have a totally different picture of what was going on with my body. So if you do it every single day, it's going to become a habit, and that's what you want. You want it to be a habit that you just get into every single day. I wake up, I go to the bathroom, I step on the scale, and then I log that number into my app. So even though I'm weighing myself every day, my daily number isn't really the one that I pay the most attention to. I really pay more attention to my 7-day average. And that's exactly what it sounds like. I just take the numbers from the previous 7 days and I average them together. I have that on a spreadsheet, and I'm going to give you the template in case you're a nerd like me and you like data. But what the 7-day average has done for me is it helps me to not celebrate too quickly, like if I see a weight loss, but then I also don't despair too quickly either if I see a gain on the scale. It helps to kind of even out my feelings on everything. And probably most importantly, it helps me make intelligent decisions about my plan. And what's helped me is to just take a very long view. So in other words, I don't even look week to week what's working. I look at like months, like, at least a month's worth to say, okay, over this past month, I was doing this. Is it, where am I trending? Am I trending up, down? Am I staying the same? So what if you're nervous? And I get that because I was very, very nervous before I weighed myself. But I will say that if you can just get up the courage to do it once and commit to just saying, I'm going to weigh myself every day and that's just what I'm going to do, it's just going to be my habit, it gets easier really fast, and then eventually it's no big deal at all. So that's why I weigh myself every day. It was certainly a turning point in my weight loss journey, and so my encouragement to you would be just try it, and commit to it for the long term. Just say, I'm going to do this for the next year. I'm just going to weigh myself every day for a year. And then that way you can make intelligent decisions about your plan, what's working, what's not, and instead of having to go based on emotion.